What's up everyone, I'm back and I'm bringing another deck guide video today brought to you by Team Bandit Gang. Bandit Gang is a group of GWENT content creators and competitive players. If you'd like to know more, I'm going to go ahead and put a link to the Discord and the website down below in the description. And if you want to check that out, I would very much appreciate it. So let's just hop into the video. I'm going to be talking about White Frost today, the new monster leader that we got from this latest patch. So White Frost is pretty fun, I would say. I don't know if I would say it's the best leader ability right now for monsters because Overwhelming Hunger is still pretty strong. But White Frost is a lot of fun, and I feel like movement is in a good place in the meta right now. Not only is it because you're seeing a lot of Northern Realms, like Shieldwall, of course, and Northern Realms plays a lot of row-locked cards like Visigoda or Selkirk, and people are also playing defenders as well that you might want to move. And then you have Skellige, which are playing boats in a lot of decks right now. So if you move boats off the melee row, that's also very good. And I think it's just a really fun leader ability. So what does it do exactly? It moves an enemy unit to the other row and spawns Frost on its row for 2 turns, and you get 2 charges. And Frost, if you don't know, at the start of the owner's turn, damage the highest power unit in this row by 2. So really nice for just doing damage, moving enemy units around the board. And if you have dominance with Aridin, you're going to get a lot of damage, because if you have dominance with Aridin, you increase damage dealt by Frost by 1. Basically, you're doing 3 points of damage per turn on one row, and if you have dominance on both rows, you're going to be doing 6 points of damage a turn, which is just really crazy. So, as always, I'm going to go ahead and give a quick little overview on the cards I picked, why I picked them, go over some considerations if there's anything you might want to change, and then we'll hop into a game and see how we do. So starting off the bat, stratagem, running Magic Lamp. I feel like most monster decks run Magic Lamp because there's nothing you really want to boost, because most monster decks rely on Thrive, or at least have some Thrive package. We do have Larvas, of course, pretty much an auto-include in any monster deck, I would say. You could possibly run like TA maybe and just buff up like a Wild Hunt Rider to just keep dominance. That's not a bad idea as well, but I just kind of like sticking with Magic Lamp personally. And we are a Devotion deck as well. So even though Oberon did get a nerf in this latest patch, he's still a pretty good card. And we do have a lot of Wild Hunt units in this deck. So if you get him to stick on the board in his stage 3 form, he's going to play for a lot of points, because whenever you play a Wild Hunt unit, boost it by 1. Sometimes you may kind of get screwed over on the RNG whenever he creates a Wild Hunt unit. But sometimes he can actually come in really clutch, and I just really like this card. Like I said, even with the nerf he got, I think he's still a pretty good card. And it wouldn't be a Frost deck without Ardgaith, the Echo card. Not one of the stronger Echo cards in my opinion. I would say Blood Eagle and AA are probably the strongest Echo cards for the factions, but still a pretty good card. And the fact that you can tutor it with Gel-Els makes it a little bit better, I think. And it's just really, really nice. Like I said, with Aridin, I already kind of mentioned him. If you get dominance, you're going to be doing 3 points of damage per turn, per row with Frost. So if you can get dominance and Aridin and Ardgaith together, it is just a lot of damage, and it's very nice. And then Naglfar, nothing too crazy, just good old-fashioned tutor card, and it's a Wild Hunt card as well, so you can tutor with Gel-Els. Imlerith's Wrath, another Wild Hunt card. I feel like you don't see Imlerith's Wrath too much going on right now in the meta, but I put this in the deck because not only is it a Wild Hunt card so you can tutor with Gel-Els, we only actually have these 3 Wild Hunt cards. I didn't want to just have 2 in the deck, just Ardgaith and Naglfar, because I've had a few games where you actually get a bricked Galels, and that feels really, really bad. I mean, most of the time you can avoid bricking Galels, but every now and then you might just get unlucky with your mulligans. But I like having a third Wild Hunt card, and I like being able to have some sort of tall punish as well, because that's one of the things Monsters is lacking, is some sort of tall punish, especially in the Devotion deck. If we weren't Devotion, we could run like a Heat Wave or something, but since we are Devotion, this will have to do for now. And then we got Goliath, just a really good 10-point body for 8 provisions, gives you a lot of reach, and if you pair that with Immolorous Wrath, you're going to be able to do 10 damage on a unit, which is actually really nice. Winter Queen, no surprise, pretty much an auto-include in Devotion decks because she gets Thrive, and if there's Frost on both enemy rows, summon this unit from your deck to the range road. So really good card. You play Ardgaith, and she comes out of your deck, and on top of that, she has Thrive. So you always want to go ahead and mulligan Winter Queen because you want to pull her out with Ardgaith. And Toad Prince. I feel like Toad Prince doesn't get enough love. I think he is not an amazing card by any means, but I think he's actually a pretty decent card. I think he's a little bit underrated in my opinion. And the fact that you pair him with Frost, I think he actually gets really good value. And the reason why I say that is because you're going to be doing a lot of damage with Frost, and you're going to be chipping away at your enemy unit's health, but it's kind of, you usually don't really kill that many enemy units with Frost. Maybe you'll damage something like let's just say, for example, like a great sword. You're gonna chip away at a great sword with Frost, and then maybe your enemy plays something taller than the great sword to protect the great sword. But let's say that great sword already went down to a 3 because of the Frost. Toad Prince can just go ahead and consume him. So Frost is gonna chip away at your enemy's power, but you're not going to get that many kills from Frost. I feel like you're not going to destroy that many units, unless maybe you do have Dominance with Aridin. But Toad Prince is just kind of like a nice little cleanup card. If maybe there's something that you're chipping away with Frost and your opponent's just barely keeping it alive, and then they get down to 3 strength or less, Toad Prince can go ahead and clean them up, which is pretty nice in my opinion. And Galel's pretty much an auto-include as well, since he can tutor a Wild Hunt card, he can tutor our Echo card, and then, like I said, Naglfar and Immolorous Wrath as well. Striga, pretty much an auto-include in any monster's deck as well. Beast, pretty good card. I don't know if I would say auto-include for the Beast, but he's still a pretty good card. You could maybe fit something else in there. Maybe if you want to take out like Toad Prince and Beast, something else you can like fit in Crones maybe. But I'll go ahead and talk more about considerations in a bit. And then the Phantom, which is actually glitched and looks like Striga, but the Phantom here, really good Wild Hunt card, and he's going to damage an enemy by 3, but at the end of your turn, if order is not used, boost self by 1. So really just nice kind of engine as long as you don't use his order ability. And as well, if you play Oberon stage 3 and then play Phantom right after, he's going to get a buff which will bring him to 6 health, 1 armor at the end of his turn, which is really nice, which means he can survive like a Parasite or a Decoction. And we do have Parasite in this deck. Pretty good card, just 6 damage or 6 buff as well. I usually use this for damage. You usually want to use this for damage, but there may be some situations where you actually want to boost an allied unit to either maybe keep dominance with Aridin, or maybe keep alive like Oberon or something like that. But most of the time, I would say it's for damage. And then we have Predatory Dive. I feel like this card is, I don't know if I would say underrated, because people do kind of respect it, but I feel like people don't see it coming when you're playing White Frost. Usually expect Predatory Dive with maybe like a Rakkus Swarm or Overwhelming Hunger. You know, if people see Overwhelming Hunger, they're going to try and play around Manticore or Maruna, most likely, at least on Pro Ladder. If you're in the lower ranks, you could actually probably get some really nice surprise value off of this. So in Pro Rank, it might be a little bit harder to get value off of Predatory Dive, but in the lower ranks, I think you should see a lot of value. So basically, each player destroys their lowest unit, and this is just an absolute great card on red coin because your opponent will play a unit, and if they're not playing around Predatory Dive, then they might just use tactical advantage on one of their units. Like, let's say you're playing against Scoia'tael. Pretty popular move from Scoia'tael right now on blue coin is the lay down Dunka and use the TA on her, and she'll automatically go up to a 9. And you can just lay down Predatory Dive on red coin. You got no units on the board, and they just lose a 9-point unit, which is very, very good value for a 5 provision card. I will say it is a bit inconsistent, especially like if you're on blue coin, you might not see that much value with this card, but sometimes you can just get insane value from it. So I think it's worth it to run this card, in my opinion. And Wild Hunt Bruisers, I think these are an auto-include for this leader ability. So move an enemy unit to the other row. If the target moves to a row affected by frost, damage it by 2. So as long as the target that you're moving is on a row that has frost in it, it's basically a 7 for 5. But the movement is really nice as well. Like I was saying earlier, a lot of people are kind of playing Defender right now, at least like Northern Realms. You see Defender in pretty much almost every Northern Realms deck, I would say, at the moment. So this is just a really nice card to move the Defender, and then you can try and attack those units that were hiding behind the Defender, like a Visigoda or something like that. And if maybe your opponent is row stacking to try and avoid frost damage from both rows, then you can move this to the other row and just get frost damage going on both rows. So really good card with this leader. And Wild Hunt Rider, this card actually got a small buff in the latest patch. So deploy Dominance, summon all copies of this unit from your deck to this row. And this is a pretty good opening play on blue coin, actually. It's just going to be 8 points for 5 provisions, and it's thinning on top of that as well. So you always want to have 1 in your deck and then 1 in your hand. But just be aware that you need Dominance to trigger this ability, meaning you need the highest power unit on the board. So this is why it's a pretty nice opening play if you're going first, because your opponent doesn't have any units on the board, so you automatically have Dominance, which is really nice. Just a pretty good card. And on top of that as well, Wild Hunt Tag. A lot of these units have Wild Hunt Tag, which is really synergized with your Oberon in Stage 3. Although the Wild Hunt Riders usually kind of want to play these round 1, round 2 to thin out. You could maybe try and hold them off until round 3 and take your luck on Oberon's create ability and try and get a Wild Hunt Rider, but that's pretty risky in my opinion, so I would try and get these out as early as you can. Larva, like I said, pretty much auto-include in any monster's deck. Don't really need much explaining to do. Naglefar's Crew, pretty good Wild Hunt card at 5 provisions. So it's going to spawn frost for 2 turns on an enemy row. At the end of your turn, if there's frost on the opposite row, boost self by 1. So this is kind of important here. Just a quick heads up. Let's say there's an enemy unit on the melee row, and then you want to spawn frost on that row. So you want to go ahead and place him on the melee row. That's what it means on the opposite row. So if your enemy has an enemy unit on the melee row, place him on the melee row, and then he's going to get the boost ability going, which is pretty nice. And Natural Selection, just a good 4 provision damage card. Not too much removal in this deck, but I mean, if I don't really count the frost as removal, I guess you can. But as far as like raw damage, just not too much removal. So natural selection, just pretty nice card. And then the Conquerors, of course, since we're running Devotion, just really nice 7 for 4 card. Not much else to say there. So that's the deck. A couple considerations I kind of touched on earlier. If maybe you want to take out like Toad Prince and Beast, you could probably put in the Crones. You would have to take out something else though. Maybe like take out Parasite, Beast, Toad Prince, put in Crones. If you don't want to run Predatory Dive, you could potentially run something like a Naglefar's Taskmaster to purify. The thing is, I don't think you necessarily need the Taskmaster. I mean, you could potentially create one with Oberon as well, but I would say you would want this card to purify a defender. But the thing is, we have so much movement in this deck, you don't necessarily need to purify the defender. But it is another Wild Hunt unit as well, so I mean, it's not a bad consideration by any means. And what else do we have? You could also maybe fit in like a Drowner just for another Thrive unit, and he moves as well, so more movement and Thrive on top of that. Not a bad selection as well. Or if you want more Thrive, you could maybe swap out Natural Selection or a Bruxa, just a really good 4 provision Thrive unit if you maybe want some more points on the board and less damage. And I think that's about it as far as considerations go. Maybe you don't want Immolate's Wrath. Maybe you can put in something like a Defender to defend your Aridin, but I don't think it's really necessary in my opinion. I mean, I think this deck is pretty solid. I've done pretty decent with it. I don't have the exact numbers on it actually, but we're going to hop into a game and I'm going to show you guys how it's played. So let's hope we have a good game. All right, and we're back. So of course, how fitting we go against Shieldwall, our first game here that we're looking for. We do get blue coin, which not bad, but not great either. Like I said, we do have the Wild Hunt Rider opening play, but we don't get to run our little Predatory Dive here. This is not a bad hand, actually. I might get rid of Immolate's Wrath, though. Okay, we do get Predatory Dive, but since we're on blue coin, I don't think it's a great card here. Okay, so not bad. And like I was saying earlier, I think we're just going to go ahead and play our Wild Hunt Riders. So this might be a tough matchup for us, but we'll see how we do here. Okay, pretty common opening play here, so I think we just go ahead and play our Larvas. You could start off with Larva as well and then Wild Hunt Riders, but the thing is you're not really guaranteed dominance after this first turn, you know. He could have maybe just gone AA, like straight into a Frigate right away, and the Frigate would get boosted to 7 points, and then you would lose dominance. So he's gonna go AA now, probably for a Frigate. Yep, there it is. Oh wow, he actually... Wow, okay. That is kind of interesting. So that really just opens up our Frost. I mean, I think we just go ahead and play Ardgaith now. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take the Ardgaith here. And we'll click our Lamp as well. That is actually pretty nice for us. This loses the Inspired tag as well. Okay. So I think what I'm gonna do We have three Thrive units on the board, which is nice too. We do have Galels. What I'm thinking is could pull one of these, but Naglfar is a little bit too risky right now to pull a random gold. We got too many random golds in our deck. Imlerus Wrath. Our highest unit is a 5. Not very great. I think I'm actually gonna might go Bruiser right now to move the Drummer. And if this stays at a 2 or lower, we can actually just go ahead and consume him with Toad Prince. This is kind of what I was talking about, where you can kind of clean up with Toad Prince. It's hard to explain, I guess, but this is what I meant. You can just clean up units with Toad Prince, as long as he doesn't buff this. I'm not sure if he is or not. Maybe he plays like a Carrick Marine to buff it up. Okay, so he has another Drummer. So might as well just consume this one then. Consume the 3-point. And as well, Toad Prince triggers Thrive. We consume the 3, and it procs the Thrive on these units as well, which is actually really nice for us. And look at that, we already have a pretty good lead against Northern Realms, which Northern Realms is very good at getting engines on the board. Oh wow, he's just gonna go ahead and take the Zeal right away. Okay. So usually my overall game plan with this deck is to try and win round 1 and push round 2, as long as I have a good enough hand to push round 2, and then usually we could take a short round 3 with Oberon. And here I'm thinking I might go Naglfar's Crew on the front row. Not a bad move. He doesn't proc Thrive, but we still have Aridin to proc Thrive and Conqueror. I think we could place it on the back row as well to just kill the Drummer. That's not bad either. But I think I'm going to place it on the front row. Because if we kill the Drummer, then he just won't place anything again. Okay, so we do get the pass from him here. And we didn't commit too much, which is very nice. I mean, the biggest thing we really commit was Toad Prince, which I'm not too sad about, you know. We got Winter Queen out as well, but that's thinning anyways. So we do win round 1 pretty comfortably as well. So I think, like I said, as long as we have good enough cards, I think we got to push here. Because Northern Realms will just destroy us in a long round. So we do have Galels to tutor a couple cards. I might want to get rid of these Conquerors, maybe at least one of them. Yeah, we get Naglfar as well, which is actually kind of nice. Okay, I think I'm going to keep this hand, and I think we just go ahead and push. So, we only have one more Wild Hunt card in our deck, which is Imlerus Wrath. So we can go ahead and tutor that with Galels. We have Naglfar. I think we're just going to go ahead and start with a Conqueror. And then depending on what he plays, we might go Goliath just to get dominance on the board, and then maybe we can go Aridin and Wild Frost. I think we want to go all out this round. I don't know if I want to play Oberon. I usually try and save him for round 3, but other than that, I think I'm okay with playing pretty much my whole hand minus Oberon. Although we could play him if we really want to. So he does have a 9-point body on the board, which means we don't have dominance. So in that case, I think I'm going to go ahead and play our Goliath. So we get the dominance to set up our Aridin. We do have our leader charges as well. Something to keep in mind. And I think I actually want to leader here, because we want to start pulling this frost off early. We want to start pulling off the frost now. So I think I'm actually going to move the frigate. And then I'm thinking either Ardgaith or Aridin. I think we just go ahead and do Ardgaith now, and then we'll do Aridin on the next turn. And he used one charge as well from his leader. It goes Marine. I'm not sure. He's probably going to try and buff the frigate to keep dominance, maybe? Okay, no, he buffs the Carrick Guard. Alright. So we already have four turns of Frost here, so I'm going to spawn Frost on the front row with Aridin. And we might save this last leader charge for, like I said, maybe like Defender or Visigoda or Selkirk. He may have a boiling oil to kill this, I'm not sure. Or he could just pull out like Anseas or something and kill this. Siege support. Okay. Give an allied unit Zeal. Maybe he's setting up for Visigurd or something, but you don't really see Visigurd. Okay. We have Naglfar, we have Gelels to tutor Imler's Wrath. I think we want to play Imler's Wrath to thin out our deck a bit first before going into Naglfar. Although I'm not sure what we'll look for with Naglfar. Probably Striga would be our best bet, or maybe Parasite as well. I think what I'm going to do is go Gelels, Imler's Wrath, and kill the frigate, actually. Since we have Goliath, it does 10 points of damage, so we kill that frigate pretty easy. And he's got Ana, so putting the shield on that kind of... that's a bit troublesome. So we have Naglfar, but what do I want to look for with Naglfar is the thing. I'd actually kind of want to save Phantom for round 3 to get the extra buff from Oberon. I'd probably want Parasite or Striga here, but actually maybe Striga to kill like the Marine or something. Alright, let's see what we get. Alright, we get Striga and Parasite, that's kind of nice. Parasite would have been so good if this didn't have a shield, man. I think I'm going to just take the Striga and go ahead and kill the Carrick Marine here. And the Frost actually killed the Carrick City Guard, which is really nice too. I think at this point, I think we're going to pass. Like I said, I'd prefer to save Oberon for round 3. And with Naglfar, we guaranteed Parasite on top of our deck, which is pretty nice. So we probably want for round 3, like, Phantom, Parasite, Conquerors, maybe. For a short round. Maybe Bruiser as well, could be decent. But we have one more leader charge, too, for movement. Wow, one more leader charge, okay. Wow, so we actually got... Oh, man. Wait, what did he play Siege support for then? What the heck? That's still not enough to get ahead. And we got one more turn of Frost. I think we pass. I think we pass. He used all his leader charges, which is very nice for us. So he can't shield like a Anseas. He did have Visigurd. Oh man, what the heck? Okay, this is a bit strange. Okay, I gotta say, I think that was a good bleed on our end. We got all his leader charges out of him. And we keep last say as well, which is very nice. And Beast in the short round, maybe not great. Plus we already played our Goliath. Predatory dive can actually be really good here. I think I'm gonna keep this. He's not gonna expect it. Watch him play like a defender or something. Oh man, please. Oh, Viraxis. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. I would emote him, but I'm not. I don't do that. Alright, let's see if he forfeits. Let's see if we get the forfeit. No forfeit. Okay. Now we're gonna have to use our leader here actually, because it's 2 turns and he's only got 2 cards left, so we actually kind of have to use leader here. So let's do Oberon first. And we did get a Wild Hunt Rider, but we already thinned him out round 1. We have nothing to purify, so we take the Conqueror. And we use our leader. Man, that was a very good predatory dive. So he gets on Seiya, but he's got no more leader charges for him. He does have the Carrick Marine buff, which is kind of good for him. I'm wondering what his last card is, actually. What does he have left? He played... His deck was a bit interesting because I didn't see like Selkirk. He's actually running Visigurd, which is still not a bad card, but I mean, if you're running Shieldwall, you want to run Selkirk, right? So we could go Parasite on Seiya. It could be like a Baron or something. Although he might kill my Oberon. I think I'm going to take the... He might kill Oberon, I don't know, so... I think I'm going to play the Conqueror to get the buff on him right now. He doesn't have Viraxis to reset this anymore, so I don't think we need to Parasite. Probably like a Baron. Maybe even a Falibor, potentially. And he quits. Nice. Nice. White Frost, tier 0 confirmed. And we beat Keckwall. And look at that, we're climbing too. We are climbing with White Frost, man. This leader ability's fun. I really like it. Alright, so that is the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions, if you have any comments. Let me know if there's any other deck guides you want to see, maybe a different faction, maybe a different leader ability. I am going to be playing in the upcoming Wild Hunt tournament this weekend as well. Maybe I'll record some games and upload that, as long as I don't do terrible. We'll see. I'm not sure how it's going to go. But if you have any questions or comments, let me know and I will get to them as quickly as I can. Thanks for watching the video and I will see you next time. Later.